next destination, and we are very quickly approaching that one. We have watched our team fight its way through in the Masters division and face it to win the Masters division and face it, but that is not all the challenge yet, because now it's time to prove themselves further, to prove what a lot of us already know, that this squad is OWCS ready. My name is Gio Cassie for today alongside Spectrum. This is going to be the proving ground of Quick Esports.
Yeah, absolutely. A matchup against Sakura Esports as well for your first matchup of the day is probably the best you can hope for, right between Sakura and Vision. Sakura, of course, winless in OWCS. Vision at least able to take the scalp of their contemporaries. So I think a lot of pressure on the Quick Esports team just to make sure they follow through on the expectations. If you're Sakura, then you don't want to lose to a team technically rated beneath you. But starting off with something that I haven't seen very much played.
Yeah, Diva Farah banned here in the first map as you see Quick Esports taking the coastal site here and just setting up. They want to give Zydra as much space to play with on that Sojourn as possible. For China, Zoro, they're going for more of the cast. Torbjorn here, poking from afar, but that point's going to open up. That could have been a very bad javelin for Quick Esports as the Tori sends in, looking for someone to go off the side of the map. The CP being a little bit of an annoyance as Zoro's going to take it out on the side, but Quick Esports, they're chilling, they're happy, they've gotten that point. It's now Sakura who needs to push the envelope here. They can't just sit back and let this point tick up, and they're just feeling the hurt right now.
Yeah, that they are. Just be a quick reset here. The end of Quick Esports, straight away with a boost on the map. Cap flip, so this fight is still going back and forth.
Yeah, and it could go either way, but right now it looks like Sakura, they still have a Tori in the point, cemented it there, and they only gave Quick Esports 20%, so not too bad for them.
Yeah, their comp they're playing, it looks like they're playing super hard for this China Strabo off angle. The Lucio taxing the Torbjorn, while Zoro, Hitori, and Protip sit back on main, just shoot for as long as possible. Quick Esports will be poked out by it, so Dip on the Symmetra has to make sure to close the distance to the backline quickly.
Nice TP rotation quick, but Dip is going to fall immediately. Zydra does get the trade, so Zydra's still able to put in the damage. Low Hitori being the final element to take Willis down. Now again, Hitori can just sit like an anchor on this point, and nothing's going to really get done here. Orbital Ray coming out from Prota actually to confirm this one, just to push them out. They don't even get too many eliminations from it. Natsuki will eventually go down as they continue to quite heavily extend here to the point where Willis is back and Tori is down, and that with all those ultimates spent, they're going to have to spend even more. The sound barrier comes out because they feel the point starting to slip away from them. Zydra with this overclock looking to take China out, can't get a good angle, but Willis follows it up, and Quick Esports, they take a fight there that you're probably pretty happy with. Lots of ults used on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, you trade Ray, Wool, OC for double supports, Terror Surge, you trade it every day of the week. How is Sakura supposed to put together a fight plan now? They've only got the Deadeye and the Molten Core, neither particularly good at taking space. They're probably just going to swing wide with like a speed ring, make sure that Zoro can clear as much space as possible, and hope that Quick Esports can't retake with their Annihilation in time.
What's one thing scarier than a cowboy drawing? It's a very quick cowboy drawing. And that's going to be the option that they have here. They have already cleaned them back onto point. Quick Esports holding this coast. Molten Core looking to split Willis up, and they have them cornered. They're getting bullied into that corner. China follows them up with a lot of assists. The whole team was a part of that one, a big team effort as they just start to clean up. Tori got a little left alone there, goes down to Dip's beam, means the Quick Esports have a little bit more time to build this percentage, get it to where it's basically one fight kind of territory for them to retake and get the 100%.
Yeah, a big mistake there from Quick Esports. Their comp plays to trade, space for resources, but giving up basically the entire gardens area when Sakura just walked up is just unacceptable, to be honest. When the Torpal comes through, then they're just going to get outpoked. That's exactly what we saw, so flip back. This might be the final fight here on Garden.
Oh, the fake TP to try and rotate onto the back line. They didn't quite get there fast enough. Speedrun came out from Prota to keep their team fast. Sound Barrier comes out, keeps the extra health there. China's going to go down to that extra aggression that they could use, and again, flipping the point mid-fight, and you see Sakura, they recognize they just need to very quickly reset.
Yeah, fair enough. They know they've got one more chance. It will be a pretty good one as well. They'll have beat Terra Surge, Orbital Ray, so Quick Esports is absolutely in their best interest to fight forward, to fight aggressively, to stop a proper touch coming through, because if you allow your enemy team to set up, you're making it a 50-50 fight.
And you can see Depp just finding places to set up those turrets to try and slow them down as both orbital rays come up. Prota goes down for it as they position there. Depp finding them. The big wall segmenting this point, and that's going to be the wall that creates a separation between Sakura and capturing this point as Quick Esports hold on and will begin this map with a point win.
Yeah, that they will. Pretty nice fight there from Quick Esports. I think it was almost a bigger mistake from Sakura. Overlaying their beats and their Ray, isn't bad in theory, but when you have to cover a lot of space, you should really be doing something like using the beat to make it into guard and using the Ray to win the fight and the point. But instead, because we use both on the corner, once we get to the objective, then Quick just pop their own Ray and just kind of win off the back of that. So, lovely play from them. It seems like they're going to be sticking onto this comp. Sakura, Quick, the same, largely could be said. Hitori's going to be under a lot more scrutiny here. She won't have the safety of distance that is created on Night Market. On Control Center, she's just going to have to eat a lot of spam. And if Dip and Zydra want, they can just burn her.
Yeah, I mean, you can't eat the beam of Symmetra. That's one thing that Javelin Spin's not going to do, and if that's a level 3 beam, then all eyes on Hitori to really survive that punishment. Already they've kind of forced China onto this angle on coast, pushed them back, and splitting up their team just enough for Quick Esports to set up on the point here. Zydra just needs a little bit of looking too. Dip is going to go down in the meantime as well. It's just holding this door. Looking like Daredevil in the corridor, but it's going to get sent off of the map. Now Sakura will be able to secure the first point.
But is this playing almost exclusively just to stop Hitori from being able to free walk? And I'm not sure that's the best use of a player, like, you know, his talents. Obviously, it's a great exit kill found from Zydra, who, in my opinion, has been fantastic so far. But, I mean, it's a really weird retake for Quick Esports, I have to say. They've got to get a little bit creative here. Pray that Zydra finds another rail.
Yeah, creating that space for Zydra is all important. Of course, that's what Security looking to do for Zoro. On the other side, Johan thankfully had to jump there to just stay in it. Unfortunately, it was enough of displacement that the healing wasn't there for the rest of the team. And I was talking about Hitori's Javelin Spin. That's not an ability that Hitori has anymore. She's went for the old classic shield.
Makes sense. I'm not sure I personally would have actually thinking about it now. It means that you win poke harder, but you kind of already won poke. Dip does get launched off the map. It's a bit peak. It's already banishes the Sims in the Nether Realm. So just an extra couple of seconds off the bank of Quick Esports, but it's got to be demoralizing, you know? I mean, we're 50% through. We haven't really got our foot in the door, so to speak, of a fight just yet. So maybe this one will be the opportunity for Quick Esports as Zydra besses his opposite number.
Yeah, that's a brilliant pick off the bat because it means so much pressure is just not available from Sakura anymore. They are going to be using this orbital ray to make up for it, but Dip gets squashed like a cockroach on the debut of Hitori. Prota finding Zydra, and that's the overclock used as well. And you're kind of thinking Quick Esports, they could have maybe invested a little bit more there to keep themselves alive.
I don't think they really could have. Nothing was really, you know, charged up in time. Yes, if they're faster and ults, obviously, but that's a whole different conversation. Their advantage now, at least, is coming into last fight territory. They've got major advantage on those support ults, right? Having that lead on that Orbis rate by so much, having that annihilation to boot. This should be a flip for them, unless Zoro does something magical.
Oh yeah, already Hitori with the Javelin almost took out the respective support. Hitori goes a little bit too far in. I think they maybe recognize that they're probably going to lose that fight, but they've kind of given over with only a sound barrier used. The rest of the ultimates from Quick Esports still very much there and ready for the rest of this map.
Literally perfect there from Quick Esports. They spend as little as possible, find as much as possible, and now they have better ults than Sakura. They can out-rotate them. You know, maybe they annihilate through the choke this first fight. Raid the second is how I would maybe look at it. Hitori can't even peek without just losing half her HP, all her armor.
My god, so much punishment, but you see, she could peek through the choke just a little bit there, had to back up immediately. Call has been made to create an off angle here on the side. This is Zoro very much primed and ready to use this overclock, and all they need is a pick or two, and that's them secure that they'll get this sub point and equalize on Li Jiang. But they've left it long enough for the orbital ray to come out first, as well as the wall. That's probably what they're looking for, but Zoro has used that overclock to try and find those eliminations, but against the wall and the beam, there's nothing really they could have done.
Yeah, Wall is kind of one of the best ultimates in the game. Zoro's getting aggro and able to soften up Natsuki, but Zydra with the annihilation to boot just takes care of Zoro. Not a trade you want to take all the time, though.
Yeah, as well as goes down from China's damage, and Zydra also. China being the one to turn things around here for Sakura, and very quickly, it did look like Quick had decided to take a good fight there, but now they're on the back foot, and there's going to be panic stations to even touch this point. I don't think they have anything to do so, especially if the javelin from Hattori and Sakura equalize Li Jiang.
But that they will. This Orisa comp that they cooked up is finding quite a lot of success. Of course, those who were tuning into the Soup Cup over in Korea, of course, may have noted that Virtus Pro were able to find the second place in that tournament, you know, beating the Koreans by playing almost exclusively Vistola on Orisa, right? Occasionally some Sigma, Diva if he's forced off of it, but no Has, basically no Ram, which are the kind of the staples in this meta. For 95% of these teams, Willies very much wants to play the Ram. Diva, less so his pick, Has absolutely. And we're seeing it work out, honestly, very, very effectively. I would maybe like to see Quick Esports make a swap over to like a Tracer Pharah setup even, just ruin the backline, break the top turret and see what happens.
Well, so far, the only change here really being that Cassidy, who does have more of a fall off, better damage fall off, so he can control the space, but so far is the side of Sakura, taking the point there through the white room, needs to back up though as Hattori continues to take so much damage. That beam's at level 3, Dip has become the microwave, and Hattori has become the meal. Although it's a bit of a trade, the microwave malfunctioned, but it is Quick Esports to take the first point.
I mean, although the sim charge is nice to have, it's not like a Zarya. You don't keep it in between fights. So, Dip will be back momentarily. Quick Esports with the first cap. And, with a sim comp set up defensively, it's so annoying to take into any space because at any point, any rotation you make, they can just flip a little bit faster than you keep, haranguing from these sidelines. I mean, you have to wait for like a Soj angle, maybe, if you're trying to walk up here. But, I mean, taking space just kind of requires a Hattori to hard walk.
Exactly, and that's what they've been trying to do, but she's taking so much heart on doing so that there's such a slim window for China or Zoro to get anything done, and they've finally been able to kind of create some space here as they walk onto point, play for pillar. They've got the speed ring up, so they could rotate back if they do need to kind of fake TP into the back line just to confuse things enough, and Zydra's gonna go down. China doing good there. High Noon was ready. That could have been a tool that Quick used to keep control of the point, as Quick have been split up here. China's a bit alone though, so he's going to get pressured out. Quick right now very split. If they want to get back onto point, it's going to have to be coordinated, and they're going to start it with the orbital ray. But Hattori is the bouncer at the door, not letting them in. Sorry, you don't have your ID, but they sneak in anyway. They're in the house, and they're going to be able to get back
raise?
In. That's a very late ray from Prota, and that's going to be something you're begging you had in that next fight.
Prota's Ray on EST time. We're not over there, mate. It's a huge mistake from Sakura Esports. Just trolling one of their ults. A huge troll. Normally, you'd have that through. You'd have Ray advantage coming to, what's going to be last fight territory. But instead, you just have to hope and pray that a boost onto Zoro is going to be enough for him to kill 5.
Zoro's opening up with the overclock, but there's not enough space. Welsh just walks up and clotheslines them. Back to hell. And Hattori's just going to take the quick way out. Has went onto the Mauga. 90%, 10% remaining here.
He needs to go like Tracer, we need to see Sombra, we need to see Wrecking Ball expediently, because who's going to find a touch here? The choke is putting out. Stray Ball has beaten 2 people in spawn. Monty. You don't even get the touch!
Just got it, just over the line. Those were some good boops there. Hattori on the point alone as Hazard, and not even a Scotsman can fight against that pressure, like in the alleys of Glasgow. And Quick Esports will take the first map in what is a very important match. This is a very important day in our esport and an EMEA quick esport, looking like they're going to continue to prove people right about what they're capable of.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I gotta zoom in on one of the sentences you just said. Like, how high pressure is Glasgow? I've been here for a while, but I still don't feel like compressed.
It used to be worse. There's a lot. There's a lot
Back
more
in the day,
niceties.
back in the day.
Yeah, I think Edinburgh has kind of like come over and kind of cooled it down a little bit. So
Yeah.
like it's not as bad as it used to
Been
be. But
gentrified.
exactly, yes.
But no,
They got nerfed.
but no, it's fantastic play from a quick there, and I hate saying that the reason a one team wins, one team loses is just because our team made some really bad mistakes, but also Sakura Esports, guys. This is a relegation match. You're one of the teams who, a lot of pundits are saying probably will be relegated. And so when we're in a great position with our Arita Torb comp, we can't just be raying 2v5. We need to be doing much better than that because mistakes like those are costing you and will cost you your spot in OWCS, a huge chunk of the prize pool. So I'm just not sure that's the kind of level of performance we want to see from them because we see how high their peaks are, right? Their control center was clinical from them. But the troughs as well are just brutal.
Yeah, they are. And here's the little thing, right? Like at the end of that map there in Lijiang, we kind of saw the Mauga come out. It was a little bit of like throwing against the wall to see what sticks, and it just didn't quite work out. That overclock didn't get the value it needed, and there's a lot of pressure being put on Zoro. We talked a little bit beforehand. The pieces that make up Sakura are very good pieces. Tori is a very strong tank. You've got Zoro as well. You've got Strebor. You've got very good players. It's just sometimes it's struggled to come together as a package, and that's kind of why they've ended up in this position where they're fighting for their place in OWCS against very hungry teams like Quick, who are also made of very good pieces, but have had a much more successful run in the Masters division and are coming off of that heat versus where Sakura's coming off of a bit of a lackluster run. So there's that mentality difference as well that Sakura need to make sure that they're kind of resetting and coming at this in a competitive mindset.
I mean, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. For what it's worth, I think role for role, then most people would argue that Quick Esports are going to be about comparable to Sakura. But as a unit, Quick Esports obviously went from strength to strength. Sakura, I mean, rumors, scrimbucks, call it what you will, but kind of some mid-table Masters teams have been reporting, strong blocks against Sakura Esports. I mean, it sounds like they're going back to Masters, at least according to that, little bit of rumor mill, a little bit of hearsay. If we're seeing them play, a strong strat so far, but now it's been seen. Now, there's a chance for the coach to get onto the mic, the players to adapt. Then I think it will be Quick Esports who come in, with more of an idea of how they want to play. Because I don't think that Sim Ram is something that Sakura would not have prepared for. It's a pretty common strat in today's day and age, and they will have had countermeasures designed for it.
Well, the next countermeasure I saw a very quick glimpse of on my peripheral is that Ramatra is banned in this next map. Route 66 is where we're going to. Ramatra banned, I'm assuming by Sakura. Be kind of crazy if Quick did that. And then Widow was banned by Quick. So it looks like this countermeasure is just like, okay, let's avoid the Ramatra for a map. I mean, Route 66... A lot of Route 66 isn't exactly a Ramatra map anyway. I mean,
Wait, we banned Ram on route.
yeah, that
Yeah,
seems
we're cooked.
strange.
I don't know.
Maybe I saw it wrong. There's a chance I saw it wrong. Hey, I'm always wrong, right?
Let's see. Let's see.
But we will find out shortly. Face it disappeared the information on my screen, so I don't have it there anymore. But if it is route, kind of a weird place to pull out the ban because now it's safe for the rest of the match. No, yeah, it is. It's Route 66 Escort, and it's Ramatra with
I'm looking. I thought I see Mayana ban
a Mayana ban. We're using Mayana
from the Face It page.
Are we looking at the same page?
Are you looking at Quick Esports versus Sakura Esports?
Yeah, it says Route 66 and it says Ramatra Widow. Are we getting trolled? Are you trolling
what?
me?
That would be quite funny, wouldn't it? No,
Okay.
I'm definitely seeing Mayana.
I'm
We
not
will
going to
see
say.
in a bit because Ram Widow would make no sense for this map. I'm seeing Circuit Royale, by the way. We'll see what we get. Yeah, it's Circuit Royale. There
Wait,
we go.
what? What is my
They banned
face
Mayana.
saying? My face is 1066. That's so
Just
great. Okay.
gaslighting you for no
I got
reason.
gaslit by face it. That's crazy.
Oh, I can only respect it. Also, what are you even going to do about it? Who's even going to believe you?
Well, I've taken a screenshot.
Yeah, okay, May makes sense because you don't want to get brawled. A lot of teams here maybe want to force Sigma. Hitori will want to force Sigma, as we're seeing here. You ban the Ana because you think double flex, like Ana Juno largely is annoying on this map. With like a Diva, you can do it with Sig as well. Quick esports are in a bit of a funky spot, but if I were them, I would assume that Yoham just goes for like the right click out the spawn and then goes over to any sort of flex pick, to be honest. You've got a lot of options here. Bap here would be very strong, for example. Willie's interesting is not mirroring the Sigma. With the Ram, you do need to spend a lot of time thinking about how you're going to rotate. You've got the speed ring for it, but it's not the same as just a Lucio.
China put in such immediate high pressure damage onto Zydra and Yoham where Zydra almost fell, and it's created such a large amount of space already where Quick Esports have had to kind of back up a little bit and respect China in the air. Obviously, there were reasons why Farah was banned in the first map, although I'm questioning the Farah ban now if that's even true because Facet's playing with me. But they're just kind of playing around these corners, looking for those opportunities to follow up on those damage.
That they will. All that spam just flying through, but this time being weighted is always going to be favorable to Quick Esports. I mean, in the center fight, the Discord finds so much value, and as we see now, Zoro just goes down.
Yeah, they were playing from that inside room, which, like, I get doing so. You're covered from the damage, but it means that if you want to push out from it, it's a very small choke, it's a very small door, and you're going to get hit by a missile. Oh!
Lovely piece of work there from Quick Esports. You'll note they're 80% of the way to that barrage, and no Diva, no easy cleanse. It's going to find quite a lot of value here. All Dip really has to worry about is China or Zoro getting an angle, and maybe he's not expecting, and he's far too aware for that. So, great start for Quick. All they need to do is not get 5 over, and they'll be able to hold for a little while longer.
Yes, and they're being patient as well. They're not, like, pressing their issue. They know they've got so much damage, and it's on Zoro to get given the space to find that headshot. It's very feast or famine, but if any player is going to find that headshot, eventually it's going to be Zoro, and Cookie Sports are very well aware of it. Barrage comes in, supplies a lot of damage to Strebor, who gets followed up on. Zoro goes down also to Dip, as Dip is now just finding a lot more than China is in this Farah duel. Well, not really a duel, just barrage of pain onto the opposing teams.
Yeah, Proto just is going on a magical walkabout outside of spawn. Yeah, I can't lie. China's best hero absolutely is his Tracer. Outside of that, I'd say he's a smidgen weaker than Dip, who has some more flexibility. I mean, we're seeing it right now in the Farah duel. Dip is just kind of working the 1v1 as long as he doesn't tempts fate there too much with a peek into Zoro, but this time allowed to live.
Yes, and with the flux ready, Hitori's going to be looking to set it up. China coming up to their own barrage very shortly. The tools are there, but Yoham does have the Transcendence to try and keep the team alive against these as the beams coming out with the Transcendence, kind of doubling up, layering your support ultimates. They're heavily investing into this fight where Sakura haven't really placed too many of their chips. They've kind of pushed them back into sub 1 minute, but did they overspend there?
I kind of don't think so. I mean, the ults that Sakura still have are annoying, sights, barrage, trans, but none of those are really fight turners, especially in a meta like this. You're only really playing around the pick pressure, maybe hitting a rock, hitting a 5 orb. I mean, it sucks that you don't have, everything, but I don't think it's the end of the world because the big tools, the window, the flux especially, are still out.
China's looking for the sneaky one in the back. His Dip takes a heavy body shot there from Zoro. Trying to find a Yoham, and off the back of that, they're able to follow up. The Transcendence, of course, was used to keep Sakura alive. Sidra still finds China in the middle of that, and unlikely to see a touch here. They might just about get there, but it's going to be in overtime.
Yeah, they'll be able to find a touch. I don't think there's too much worry about that. Remember, they got the speed ring from Natsuki to get them in position and time. Make sure he's not booped. But there we go. Willie's is in position.
Just in time. Now's got the Fist of Fury to force Tori out. As Zydra is hunting in the background. As Depp also has the barrage. That backline got melted. And a moving Farah and barrage is something terrifying. Even more so if you see the name Dip above it. Sakura, they get held. Quick Esports defending that first point, putting themselves in a wonderful position to win this map and to put themselves into the 2-0 position against Sakura, against an OWCS team, and begin to secure their place in this promotion. Oh boy.
If you're Sakura and you have map pick, you have first ban, then especially when you're in a promotion relegation tournament, you would really like to do better than being held before the second phase of the map. It's as simple as that. That attack was incredibly lackluster for them. I saw very few ideas about how to approach it. It was basically just putting your faith into the hands of your DPS to just magically kill someone. And if that doesn't happen, then there is no plan B. There's no frontline trade. There's no real anything, no inspiration. You know, a lot of teams, if they're in a spot like this, will play with some Symmetra, play with some Lucio, and hard speed their tank forward into punishing. Something that we saw quite a lot, again, Virtus Pro were doing in Korea, where they were playing Juno Brig Sig and using the speed ring to hard engage your Sig into the enemy tank line, just rocking and then obliterating them. That kind of type of creativity, if Sakura had, maybe that, you know, actually got a time bank extension, but as it stands, all Quick Esports need to do is complete the first phase of Circle Royale, and they'll be up 2-0 in this promotion relegation match.
And of course, if they win this, then it's not over yet. They'll be facing the winner of Vision versus Frosttails. If I'm being honest, I think that's going to be a rematch between themselves and Frosttails. And then
it could be, unless Taejong just does something ridiculous.
That is true. Taejong does exist and is in that map, so it could pop up. But I believe in the Face It Master Supremacy at this point, if I'm being honest. I was fairly confident about Quick. I thought Sakura might be their biggest issue, but clearly that's not even the case right now. You see Hattori kind of playing this corner, kind of how we saw previously.
Oh,
but Sorrel got booped out of position. Zydra was ready, waiting for Dip to get that done. Now you've lost your Sojourn. You're just going to fall apart from there because the pressure's not there to stop Willis from applying this forward momentum, staying at this forward corner. And now you pretty much have, you know, one fight. If you lose this next fight, then the map's over.
Yeah, absolutely, I would say so. Sorry, she's low. She's under so much pressure all the time. Now she has to be perfect and necessary to there from China.
Yeah, Willis going down is huge. Means Hattori, she can start to pressure out and give her DPS that space. And you see immediately Quick Esports, they back up, hands up. They're like, all right, you got us. We're going to back up here. Try not to go down. Natsuki's going to get away without get taken out. But Sakura in a fairly decent position ultimates-wise.
Yeah, that they are. I mean, Transcendence 75% of the way off. You know, they'll mostly have a window and a barrage, but when you're fighting into open space, like a Quick Esports momentarily will be, those also what you really don't want to be playing into. If I am Quick, you know you only need one though, but this one probably isn't it.
Yeah, window of opportunity there to clean the board. Quick fall down immediately. Yeah, you see what I did there? Yeah. I speak into a microphone for fun. Yeah. You know me.
I'm gonna block you after this. Good lord. But no, listen. Your security Esports, you only spend your window, you get a fight win. Literally, is exactly what you need. 2 minutes left to go. It's absolutely losable if you're Quick. That's just 2 big mistakes away from losing a map you've got a huge lead in. That being said, you know, the ults eventually will swing into the Quick favor, so we have to make sure that Sakura are still going to be playing absolutely pristinely.
It needs to be clean, and it needs to be pristine. There's the barrage from China taking Zydra out. So, immediately, what was going to be an overclock is gone. Willis immediately feeling the hurt, and suddenly, the tides are shifting. We're at 90 seconds. You know, we're coming up to our ultimates at least, but you can kind of feel Sakura getting into a bit of a better, kind of warmed up position.
I'm not sure that's strictly true. I think they had earlier ults, and now they've ran out of their earlier ults. So I still think the fights that we've seen Quick play for the most part have been better. Yeah, okay, Fireman walking the window wasn't the smartest move, but the idea to punish the player by the statue was pretty good. Only the Barrage could really shut that down, and now it's off the table.
Yeah, but Sakura have only used one of those ultimates, and obviously the response is there from Quick with 1 minute remaining. Plenty to use on both sides here. As
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but my feet has
my feet is also frozen.
my feet has paused. This is very rough. I'm sure things are happening. Likelihood is that Zydra's looking for the overclock. I imagine there's going to be a flux here. If it's good enough, you might see the Transcendence come out. Oh, I see some stuff. There's some pixels here. Yep, okay, Transcendence. Yeah, Wells is in there with the Annihilation. Hattori goes down. Had used Flux, but got Transcended. The beam came out from Natsuki. Dip still has their Barrage if they want to secure this fight, because it is very messy right now. I don't even know if Dip is in this fight right now. I don't think they are.
There's Barrage. There's Straybo dead.
Yeah, Straight Bar's down, so now if you can find Prota, there's no healing left. There goes Prota, down to Yoham, dinks them in the head. Zoro, desperate, trying to find what they can on this Tracer. Natsuki is in trouble. Willis, though, takes out Hattori. Barrage is going to force them off of the point. The overtime ticker is ticking away! They don't touch! They don't touch the point!
It wasn't a C9. Everyone was basically dead. It was an incredibly, unstructured fight there. But, I don't know, it was really odd, to be honest. I mean, obviously, we don't know what happened through the most critical phase of the opening, but by the time it was over, Willis is hard playing Mega Pack, while we kind of alternate touches on point. We kind of touch a smidge too early, so we take a lot of damage. Zoro comes back on that Tracer, double kills the backline, essentially, right? Prota's, or not Prota, but we see the Juno left on a sliver of HP, has to just leave. You lose too much uptime. Willis dies because the Juno's unpeaking. And we go down. A huge positional mistake, unfortunately, from the side of Quick Esports. And a fight that absolutely can, and in my opinion, probably should have went in their favor, means that instead we equalize. Sakura Esports have been able to drag themselves back from the brink.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was in particularly clean or convincing manner. Once they're going to be off their own map pick, as of course we will be now, then will they be able to continue that same level of performance? By which I mean just, squeaking it over, or will we see something else maybe?
I know, and I feel like there's a part of me missing. There's a whole chunk of my heart gone, and it's that fight. It's like, how did it start? How did those teams play into those ultimates? There were a lot of players still on the board, so the support ultimates did a lot to keep everyone alive. Especially the fact that Sakura survived against what was the beam. The beam came out, looked like a lot of them were still alive. They probably backed up in time, didn't take too much of the heat. Maybe they used the beam and then the flux came out. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to try and get the code off someone at some point and have a look exactly what happened. But yeah, I think Willis might be replaying that in their head a little bit. They had to go off the point. That wasn't really an option. They had to, but they'll be rethinking. Like, is there a way I could have gone back to the point sooner? Was that something we could have turned around? It was very close, but nonetheless, they've got to wipe that from their memory. They've just got to keep going forward here. But yeah, Sakura have fought back. They're saying, okay, yeah, we've heard about Quick. We know you won Masters Division. We know we're one of the bomb two teams in OWCS, but there's still a level between OWCS and the Masters tier. That's what Sakura are trying to say here, and they've equalized to try and hold on to their spot that they have.
Yeah, still plenty of maps left for them to play, and so I think they're going to be wiping the sweat off their brow more than anything else, realistically. I mean, we're still waiting for the next map, so we'll know that in 20 seconds or so. But if you're Quick Esports, you've got a lot of options, honestly, I feel like, in how you want to force this. For example, you could do like a Runa Sappy with an Orisa ban. I think you'd kind of just win. You could do a Juno ban, and you still have, I think, probably a bigger lead. Prota seems to be really reliant on that hero right now. But the pick has come through. It's going to be Blizzard World with Soj and Iliari bans.
Yes, okay, and I see that on my Faceit now. I've refreshed my URL. Basically, like the match got reset. I think I'd opened the link before it got reset, so things were different for me. But I'm on the right track. And yeah, Blizzard World now. If Sojourn banned, that's two players that are upset now. Although we have already seen the Cassidy on Blizzard World, though, I imagine you're going to be seeing Ashe be the replacement. Still got the good long range, very strong hit scan right now. Perks worked out in her favor. So I imagine that's what we'll be seeing as the replacement to Sojourn.
It kind of depends a lot on what kind of setup you want to play. If you want to play like a Winston, maybe Diva's kind of marginal actually. But if you want to play Winston, Bull, then you will find more value probably with an Ashe. But if you're playing like a Haz, you're playing a Ramatra, Cass is probably going to end up being quite a lot stronger because you can take this more forward positioning, right? You do end up doing, and a lot of times, more DPS, especially in that raw frontline trade, and he is a really strong pick right now. So I would be more surprised to see an Ashe than a Cass, especially as I think neither of these two teams are very heavy Winston teams.
Yeah, that is true. Obviously, Sakura they've done quite well, I would say, on Hazard compositions, especially compared to Quick, who tend to avoid Hazard. We haven't really seen that kind of style of play come out from Quick, where they prefer to play the Ramatra into most compositions, which trips up the Hazard players. As you see, Hattori, she will be playing on it, and I think someone should tell Zoro the important information.
My band's wrong. I'm looking now. It's now Torb Anna, which makes sense. That these
What
are both
is wrong
bands.
with Face It?
That happens
Okay.
sometimes. Happens.
I'm not looking at Face It anymore.
But no, Torb Anna. These are very different bands. These are we don't want hazards to have fun. It's as simple as that. Torb is a soft Haz counter. Anna is arguably harder counter, especially in Korea. Also, the Anna stops Winston from being basically playable. So basically what it ends up being is that Hazard is much freer because we removed two of his strongest counters and one of his best, contemporaries. And so we're going to be seeing probably this played quite a lot. The Diva versus the Haz. The Diva is going to be better at just like raw tank trading, but the Haz in the kind of slightly longer poke ranges is going to be finding more value.
Yeah, what Hattori has been good at is kind of bleeding out resources enough that Zoro can find the follow-up. Okay, well, welcome to the rodeo, Zoro, as Zydra is going to take them out nice and quickly. Hattori's going to fall also with that fan the hammer, and a very quick point secure here. There's not going to be a retouch.
Yeah, it was as easy as can be. Sakura not feeling too good about how that's worked out. Straight moves over to the Brig. In theory, that gives you a better 1v1 with the Tracer, but with the Brig Juno backline makes more sense. You're not playing anymore for like side lanes, you're just playing for your core that's going to sit on high ground and help you at least match Quick in the poke a little bit more.
Zoro just kind of looking for these off angles where they can be cheeky enough to build up that railgun, to look for that shot. Dip and China on the Tracer duel, of course. Getting caught out, I mean, yeah, Hattori's going to have their eyes out on those Tracers as well to deny those lanes, as well as just trying to force out Zoro, but they have gained the 100 charge there. Watch your heads, as this Zoro is looking for it. Zydra looking to force them out. Bit of a Tracer duel on the side here, but China again forced out again by Zydra, who has that high noon. They could use that to kind of exit this point here. That's what they're going to do, just create that space for their team to be able to get out of this room that they got kind of packed up into. Very brave from China, but that package got eaten up by Willis, the Porch Pirate, as they are now just kind of teeing off for this high ground to try and secure the team up. Downpour from behind is going to catch out Willis, who's taking heavy damage from it, gets the support though, able to eat up a lot of that damage also, as Zoro needs to back up. It's China though that goes down, and with this orbital ray, Zydra's just going to be playing aim trainer, and those bubbles will pop.
It's pretty lackluster play, in my opinion, from Sakura Esports again. Quick Esports, it's very passive play, where they're just sitting inside, more passive than what most teams would do. But instead of really punishing, boxing them in, Quick are just kind of allowed to walk out whenever they want, and then we try and Hazard them just standing in a small room. Our Hazard should be used typically to try and shut down, to cancel, to delay a rotation, but instead it catches a Diva who just holds Matrix.
Dip is playing the stealth game, gets the stick, takes Zoro out immediately. Overclock was ready, so no overclock in this fight, as Hattori is now joining on the rematch and immediately does not have as much success as you're usually seeing Quick Esports. Says, this is one hell of a run, Spec. They are not stopping.
Yeah, they seem to have cracked the code so far. I guess the RAM is a little bit better. You can get a lot less ruined by the frontline trade, but in exchange, what's the RAM really catching on to, right? China is going to be able to leave the scenario if things get a bit hairy for them. Straber and Pro to have the separation and for safety. Oh, the 1v1 not going in Dip's favor, but he'll be able to get out.
We're able to get out Zoro with the extra charge on this overclock bent. Very aggressive, and Brigitte just, you know, not a big fan of Sojourn, just immediately takes them out of the fight. High Noon here as well to just create a moment of space for them to kind of regroup as the orbital, well not the orbital, the speed ring comes up to push them forwards here. Well, it's on a very aggressive position also. Strebar pulling their rally, but immediately Quick Esports, they've got the time, they can back up and kind of play for space.
And that has been, in my opinion, the one saving grace of Sakura when they are on comps such as this. On the Tracer, he is an absolute force of nature and absolutely turning the tables on Dip from that previous point. Making it a hell of a lot more competitive between these two FPS. Of course, Dip has been forced back more than a couple times here. See if third time's going to be the charm as he begins walking up once again.
And there's the orbital ray right into the Annihilation, trying to keep themselves alive. China through the pulse bomb didn't quite get who they're looking for, looking to stick onto Natsuki, didn't quite get it. But great position right now, Quick Esports are in. Sakura feeling the heart. Tori's health is just disappearing. Zoro goes down also, and there's not going to be an ability for them to recharge. The bomb is going to keep Willis in their own mech, and that's a 3-minute time bank on Blizzard World. A map that's very often held at second point, so this is a great time bank.
Yeah, it's just ginormous. Realistically, a 3-minute time bank you just won't see on any map in the game, realistically, right? I mean, Sakura got schmixed. There's no other way of describing it. They just weren't allowed to play Overwatch for, you know, that 4 or 5 minutes of the attack. And because of that, I mean, Quick Esports pole position to go up 2-1. If I'm Sakura and if I'm attacking, you just need Zoro to find himself again, to be honest. He's been incredibly quiet, in my opinion. A fantastic player when he's at his peaks. I've seen him do it in person, but right now it's not been it, right? China has had his flashes of brilliance. If Zoro can, you know, come to match him, then maybe this team can be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, that kind of plays into what you were talking about with the Cassidy as well, like how much DPS Zydra is able to just output constantly. And when Hattori got close, it was fan the hammer time, and that's just a lot of burst damage onto a tank. So Zydra was finding just a lot more done with it. And Zoro does now have Hattori on Sigma, so can play behind that shield and play a little bit more pokey in that regard.
It's gonna be funky. But it's, yeah, exactly the same from Quick Esports, of course. With the Sigma, your rotates have to be creative. Quick Esports are probably going to be looking for hits more than anything else. No, they're not. Because Sakura is hard playing to punish the tank. Willis, if he flies in, he's going to get frozen. Obviously, can't DM that. Going to be walled rocks, and generally is going to have a pretty terrible time. So they just want to take Willis out the equation and hope that in that 4v4, the rest of Sakura can find value.
This is targeted. 3 of the heroes on Sakura's comp don't care about Diva Matrix. And Willis is going to feel the heart if they need to contest point, if they need to push the issue. And look at
the hard we're looking Willis.
They're hunting them. Run, Willis, run for your life. And Zydra able to be the savior, the guardian angel of Willis as China goes down. And now those TPs aren't available for the rotation. You're just really looking at those speed rings, and that means Hattori has been a bit stuck on this point as the rest of Quick Esports, like hounds, begin to walk in and try to clean up, and clean up they will do.
I mean, this is best case scenario for Quick Esports. You know, it doesn't really matter that they got, you know, pushed a little bit, because now they're going to have some very, very strong ults. Obviously, at least a minute and a half off that bank before there's another fight for Sakura, so probably 3 attempts on first point. Not really what you're looking to do. Yes, it is kind of painful that Stray Ball's behind on, or ahead on Rally, and Dip was obviously just dies first. Huge mistake. And Quick Esports, unless they equalize quickly, won't really be able to punish us. They're going to have to give up space, give up ticks.
Yeah. Without Tracer, you don't have extra punishment on lanes. You don't have the flank to tickle the backline and force Straybor's attention, and that is going to force Willis to be a little bit more of an objective controller here, and that's going to force him into a tough spot. But Straybor takes so much heart that Natsuki takes them out their rally, finding more of the value. Quick Esports in a position right now where they don't actually need to invest the rest of these ultimates. Willis just ulting there to mech, and Hattori in a tough spot here, needs to get out and is going to get taken out eventually, unless they can escape here. You see Dip just chasing them, but Hattori's health just being kept up by strings, and eventually they will get clipped.
Yeah, I mean, lovely retake there. 2 ticks, you give them over every day of the week if it means finding a hold, right? And finding a hold where you don't even spend, your biggest ults, your rally, your bomb, whatever. Who cares, right? You've still got the orbital array, the all-important tool. The issue is going to be the flux. What are we doing against that? Is Zydra's Deadeye maybe going to be enough to zone it? Or are we just going to have to sacrifice the number to the ultimate?
Yeah, the High Noon, well, immediately is going to come out, and just about didn't get China as the wall came up there, the Great Wall of China, one might say. The Flux does take out Willis's mech. Natsuki finding Straybor again there. They're in a solid position here. The Pulse Bomb forces Zoro to use the Ice Block there. They are on the point, but they're going to take so much heart. Eventually, Zydra's able to clean up, and yeah, Quick Esports continue to look strong in this defense, and they're coming up to yet another rally.
45 seconds left to go. Sakura spent everything in that fight. The rally is their closest ult at 53%. Zoro maybe 54. I mean, Quick Esports are going to have this rally so much earlier. And if you're Sakura, what can you really hope for? Zoro can't magic a pick. He's on A. China can't. He's on Sim. I mean, what kind of mistake are you hoping to punish that you think will materialize? I'm not sure I see the vision here.
Even cars outside are beeping. They can feel the tension right now. As China just gets eviscerated. Zip brings them low enough for Zyra to follow up with the Peacemaker, and that will be the one that settles the map, that creates peace between the teams, as Sakura have fallen on Blizzard World quite substantially, as Quick Esports make what happened on Circuit look like a fluke, as they are now in the lead here in this promotion game. Quick Esports, they just need to continue this one and secure that free one.
One map away from finishing things up. If you are Sakura, I mean, what could you even say, right? You've just got totally dumpstered. 3-minute time bank, and then almost a full hold, right? 66% away from one. I mean, there was just no life in Blizzard World. It's as simple as that. Like I said, China on their Tracer did okay, and then we put him on Mei on the attack and get 0 value. Genuinely, he did nothing. It was a cosmetic piece of the team, and unfortunately, the same could be said of Zoro, in my opinion, all series long. Just been a non-factor. And now, I mean, Sakura Esports, yeah, they won't be relegated by this loss, but they're incredibly close to taking it and being just one more matchup away from going down into Masters Division. And if you are Sakura as well, who are you hoping to play there? Who you think you have, a better chance of beating? Maybe Frostels are a smidge weaker than Quick, that's for sure. Obviously, that game we saw between the two of these teams was, relatively close, and this one isn't.
Yeah.
So you were using this game as a weather vane, I think, if you were Sakura, if you didn't already know where you stood, and I don't think you like where the wind is blowing.
No, definitely. You want to change the tide. You want to get the gliders out and turn this one around, because right now you're heading in the direction you don't want to be. You don't want to be fighting the lower bracket, because then you're just one loss away. Be it if you're against Vision or Frosttails, both are teams that are very capable of taking it to Sakura. Of course, Vision has beat Sakura. I believe it was week 3 of the OWCS Stage 1 that they met and Vision won. So Sakura being in the lower bracket, that's dangerous position for them, right? As long as they can get to at least that final match where they secured themselves their spot, they're happy with. But if you go to a lower bracket against either Vision or Frosttails, it might not look so great for you. It might just be like a full sweep down back into the Masters division.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting to see no matter what. See what's happening in the other game. Actually, that's what I'm kind of curious about. Let's see.
I was thinking that myself. I didn't want to Google it mid-match, but
Vision Esports are 2-0 up. in terms of
Okay.
anything interesting on the scoreboard. Dude, Taejong's so good at the game. Wait, how did Simple do 14,000 damage? Oh, he's on tank. That explains a lot. Yeah, no, it's just Taejong killing everyone. It's just Taejong's killing everyone.
Oh yeah,
He's
because
just out.
we were
Yes.
talking about the fact that IMO got banned. So like, what
Yes.
the tank situation going to be? So Simple's on tank then.
Yes, AMDP has been signed for SEL, but is not eligible for OWCS, I think, because he was previously on an expert team. I would have to read the rules again, but that's
Right.
my gut feeling.
Right, yeah. Well, that's good. If they're 2-0 up with Simple, who typically
Mm.
is flexing on their support line, then that's a brilliant position, and that kind of pulls into question Frosttails a little bit as well. That they're struggling against Vision, who don't have their core tank, who have had such a split up, but maybe that's more of just like a big, win for Vision. So,
Yeah.
so it looks like Vision's going to be up against whoever wins this one, unless Frosttails can reverse sweep that. So we could see Vision versus Quick here, very much looking like that's going to be the matchup that will determine the first team to get into the qualification.
Yeah, I will say, take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt. I'm just reading the scoreboard. It does look like Kyo is having one of his certified stinker games. Occasionally, he does just die 20 times in a map. This time it was only 13, but it's not what you love to see. So we'll see what Frosttails can do. If I were to put money on exactly how promotion relegation would work out, I would say that Quick go to play Vision Esports in that upcoming game. That would be a really fun one to match. Right now, I would struggle to say that Quick wins it, but I'm not saying it's an impossibility by any stretch of the imagination, right? Then it would be probably Quick v Frosttails again in the final matchup, and I imagine Quick would be taking that. So I do think Quick do need to be upset, definitely, if they are going to miss out on OWCS, which makes this day more than anything else a coronation for them, but one they're still going to have to put plenty of elbow grease into to actually ascend.
Exactly, exactly. And talk about ascending. So we know the map is Esperanza for this match. Um, what we don't know is the bans. I see bans on my face it thing, but I'm not confident anymore to say them. It looks like Arissa Mercy. I'd love a confirmation on that one.
That sounds pretty
Oh, actually, no,
standard.
it's Runasapi, actually, not Ispra. Never, okay. Like, ignore anything I ever say about the face of thing. It's been wrong the whole game. Runasapi. Don't know
Face
what
it
the
realizes
bans are.
that lying to Geo is one of the most fun things you can do
I
maybe
feel so
in time.
gaslit.
This is what happens every time we cast together. You just haven't realized yet. It's Arisa and Lucio, by the way.
Arissa and Lucio. Okay, that makes more sense than Mercy.
Yeah, so we're gonna be in the Ram mirror. It makes sense. You confident in your Ram. Hitori's confident enough in hers. I would imagine that Sakura banned the Lucio because they were worried about Lukiri. I'm not sure about this ban from them, honestly. I think it does more harm than good.
Yeah, also, like, banning the Orisa, I mean, they did fairly well against Orisa as well. Like, you kind of remove that, you kind of obviously are forcing this rematch of Jewel, which you're more confident on. You are more confident on. China, though, is changing that confidence. Willis has other things to say. The double choke slam onto 3-bar Zoro sends them, buries them alive, and it's going to force them backwards here immediately. And Dip needs to be careful of that Maybeam.
I mean, it's just ridiculous amounts of value found there from Willie. Just shows up and obliterates those fists. Looking like Muhammad Ali out there. Obviously, plenty of approach you're going to garner from that. There's going to be a fast recontest, but you need a wall and fast.
Well, the wall comes out on the kind of connector there to the bounce pant. Didn't have too much effect there. No one really got split off too much, but you have your back against what would be the flower spawn of Quick Esports. So of course, you want to try and find something quick here. China took a little bit of punishment there, so had to back up, get the healing. Meanwhile, Trevor just falls in Willis. My God, Willis has hands! Willis has hands! Oh my lord! It is the world heavyweight champion of boxing, Willis, who is just running through Sakura.
I mean, and running towards, just being one game away from OWCS promotion. Forward spawns unlocked in sub 2 minutes. You just don't see that. Of course, Quick are ahead in ultimates. They do need to make sure to go early, otherwise Sakura will be able to charge into some of their own. But honestly, if I'm Dip, I'm waiting until they start their walk in insta-blading, maybe even combined with Willis Annihilation.
Yeah, you can feel the energy. Dip's definitely looking for that one. They're very close to securing this map win. It would be huge for them to put themselves forward in this bracket. There's the beam though, so the blade's going to come out against the beam. It's going to be tough to fight for it, but Prota will get slashed down. A squishy character able to get done. Willis again, consistent. Cement beam in the ground here for their team. Will not let Sakura beat them. Will not let their team lose this, and will be the spear pointed at them, shooting towards OWCS.
Okay, to be fair, you did spend 4 check marks for 2. Yes, you're getting a ridiculous amount of lead for it, but the recontest is going to be surely pretty brutal from Sakura. That's why we see the bot be given up. Quick Esports want their opponents to push into them, maybe hope there's some sort of slip up that you can punish with a rally. Else, you just want to burn time, burn ults, and generally just consolidate your advantage as much as possible.
Yeah, lots of angles here being taken by Quick, and it's kind of what you're talking about, just trying to burn as much as they can. The rally comes out from both sides, but the bot's under control of Sakura right now. As soon as they see the opportunity, Hattori, she walks onto the backline with that Annihilation. It's enough to take down Natsuki and Dip as well as they fight back. And just like you said, they had more of the arsenal to do it, but they have spent that entire arsenal to win that fight.
I don't think they needed to do that. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. That means that yes, they get forward spawns. Yes, they not forward spawns. So they take away Quick's forward spawns. Yes, they get their first meterage on the points. But what's our fight plan here? We just playing for China's Blizzard. Yes, it's going to be maybe online faster than like a Dip Blade. But in the neutral last time, you got worked. Willie's, remember, was double killing you with the Nemesis form. Is that just not going to happen again?
I mean, it's right. It's right and possible. Willis has been on an absolute storm. I mean, this entire Masters division as Ramatra, but they have culminated into this point here. On to this match. Willis though is taking lots of punishment though, so does need to be well aware that, you know, Sakura know how strong that they are and they want to take them out. The Blizzard comes out. Willis just about gets out there with that extra boost. I think they're hiding behind that kind of small kind of raised platform there. Dep's gonna pull the blade. China immediately will fall to it. The beam comes out actually from
that beam is so kiteable.
Yeah, they're looking to just keep this fight alive, but Yoham goes down, who was very close to their beam as well. Sidra trying to turn this one around, because of course if Sakura are able to win this one, they'll get a forward spawn. They're able to stop this, they're able to gain control again, and stop Sakura from getting their forward spawn. And a lot of that was on Dip getting some great value from that blade.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably could have killed more, but a nice slow from Hattori messed up his dash somewhat. And then, you know, with no dash, you can't really do all that much, but hold your pool noodle out. Maybe an overspend with Willis and Zyja both popping their ults at the same time, both being pretty powerful ones, but it got the job done. It's got their forward spawns back, and Sakura sent all the way back.
China just about gets that pack, but it's still up against 2. As the rally, as Brigitte was there. Trevor was up there also rallying to save China. China actually beats Dip, fair enough. Takes them out for being a little overconfident. And now Straightbar going to get sent back. This rally from Natsuki being good at keeping the team alive. And the beam was also used from Yoham also. The fact that Hattori has also pulled Annihilation just to try and keep this alive. It's going to give them that kind of breathing room. Things did look a little uncertain, but they're able to gain control again.
I'm going to say, these teams are spending like lottery winners in terms of their ult work, and it does mean that we're seeing a lot of neutrals. A lot of neutrals is, of course, just way better for Quick Esports right now because they're playing them so much more effectively. Sakura are going to be playing towards their DPS ults. They probably want to Deadeye people into a blade. Quick Esports, though, come up to a blade of their own, and Dip has been a little bit sharper with them.
Definitely been sharp. And sharpening the blade. Looking like Kill Bill out there, looking for vengeance. But it's China now. Looking like Kill Bill 2, and Natsuki gonna fall to it, and That's going to be enough. Willis is alone pushing the point there, is going to get cleaned up. And it's 3 minutes, and, you know, pundits say the classic line, push starts at 3 minutes. So there's definitely all the chances. I mean, really, the lead is, you could say that's like 2 team fights of a lead for Quick Esports. So there's definitely, they're not safe.
No, they are not. A lot of work going to have to be put in terms of getting them unseated, however. Early push. The Annihilate here just in time, and the Deadite is going to stop it being used for at least a moment. Dip, what are you doing there, mate?
Dip just got RKO'd out of the blade. Zydra makes up for it as Zoro goes down to the overclock. But with the beam from Prota, Johan doesn't have anything to respond to. It's going to be Willis trying to turn things around with this Annihilation as a Hitori needs to scamper away like a scolded dog. Right now, they are still holding the line, are Quick Esports, and Dip comes back just in time for a little bit of vengeance, for a little bit of clapback, and they will win this fight, again stopping that forward spawn from being secured by Sakura.
The Dip has been the main pain point of Quick Esports anytime something does go, against them. But thankfully this time, after his initial slip-up, which I agree does look a little bit goofy, but he comes back, gets his one, and the car is moving back towards the Quick side of the map in their favor. You have to play slow. You need your support tools. You know that Hitori is going to absolutely run down her Annihilate to find value from it. So, you see, as soon as they see the enemy team swinging, we back onto these longer sidelines where we can finish this rally, finish this raid.
90 seconds away from beating Sakura, moving forward in this promotion. And it is going to be the rally coming out from Strebor first. That's going to be the vanguard push there. But in terms of value, not much. Value. Yeah, they have not gotten anything from that. Zydra's full charge here on the flank. China's gonna go down to a massive damage. Hitori is blocking for their life, but in the final round they fall. The knockout blow, and this is looking really good for Quick Esports. They're gonna get some more push on this bot, and they're gonna feel a lot more comfortable.
They've got lead on DPI assaults generally, right? Yeah, China can play this vision earlier, but you can't fight for a long while. There will be a touch, of course, guaranteed for Sakura, but it's going to have to be perfect, and you don't have Prota for the first.
Prota down, the healer gone. China's also down. Dip does get traded out by Zoro. You have a little bit of leeway here, but with 30 seconds remaining, you can't push forward until Prota's back into this one. Blade ready from both sides. But the high noon from Zoro could mess up Dip yet again. Zydra ready with this overclock. This final fight so important, but they're given the space.
Hey, all you can really do. Quick Esports know they only really need one, but against a Deadeye, it doesn't matter what you have. You just kind of need to respect it. It's popped, it's respected, and it's going to be just some extra push for Sakura. It's going to allow them to make it to the middle of the map. But what do they do against the OC?
Every meter counts, but so does every railgun shot. As Dip on the other side of things is taking Strebor out. China gets whipped out of their own blade. 3 members down for Sakura. Quick Esports, the champions of the Masters division, a team that we all knew were very well and capable of getting into OWCS. They have beaten Sakura 3-1 with only one slip up on Circuit Royale. They're going from strength to strength right now, and they have secured themselves into a match where they'll only be one win away now from getting into OWCS.
And I think it's kind of fair to say as well, there's a very real chance that and I think a very strong argument that this probably should have been a 3-0, right? Yeah. I mean, considering how good their whole was their first fight on circuit, they should be winning that 9 times out of 10. Yeah, they slip it up, and yeah, it's a bit embarrassing, but they get the job done. They show dominance over Sakura Esports and put themselves in pole position to qualify. Currently, the way I see it, it's a 2-1 between Vision Esports and Frosttail, so still a chance that we get that Face It Master Division rematch in the upper brackets. Mm-hmm. But we're simply going to have to wait and see what happens with that game. Either way, Quick have done all they can to ensure their success, and all they can do now is wait for the next game to come.
Exactly, and then that's what we will be doing. We'll be waiting for the next game. But so far so good, and yeah, with Circuit Royale, what it felt like to me is what I see a lot of the time. Whether the players know or not, they got a little bit too comfortable with how much of a lead that they had, and they kind of played their time a little bit too much. They were just a little bit too lackluster. They walked into amplification matrix at one point when they should have been very well aware it was ready. They got eviscerated. Yes, we don't exactly know how that last fight went, but clearly it wasn't in their favor. But so far, so good for the Quick squad. Now we're just waiting for this match against, it'll be either
Frosttails or Vision.
Frostales or Vision. And my brain combined them both. I was going to say I was going to say Frisian, which that'd be terrifying of a name.
Yes.
I don't know about that branding, but we will be right back as soon as we know when the next game's starting up. I'm sure somewhere on Twitch people are watching the other game as well, and we'll be keeping our eyes on it as well. But we'll be going to a break until then, so don't go anywhere too far, folks, as we'll be continuing Quick's journey into OWCS.
Mm.